Thursday Daily Delivery. I'm Michael Rand. Happy to be back for another day. Hope everybody is having a great day out there today. Tremendous show coming up. Velle E. Neal III, Star Tribune columnist, joins me in a little bit. A new segment we're going to be doing every week called the Daily Delivery Debate. 3 topics. Velle and I will get after it. We won't always disagree vehemently, but we might get into it. This week we didn't get too hot with the takes this time around. We might get a little bit further, down the road here when we do this feature a little bit more, get into it a little bit more. But today we had some subjects on the Twins, the Lynx, and the NFC North. So stick around and check that out here in just a little bit. And if you would prefer to watch these instead of just listening to these, they will all be available on the Star Tribune's YouTube page. There is a daily delivery page on the Star Tribune YouTube page. You can also find those just under the video tab on that page. So look for those if you'd rather see Velle and I talking, see our faces, say it face to face. You can do it that way as well. We'll put one of those out every day on video, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. So that'll be coming up in just a minute. Got some football stuff at the end of the show and some conference realignment stuff at the end of the show as well. First, though, what did I miss? I'll start with the Twins. It was a newsy Twins game on Wednesday night. Good news for the Twins by and large. First piece of it was that they won, right? This time of year when they're trying to hold on to the wild card spot in the American League, winning solves a lot of problems. Winning cures all. They have won 2 in a row now. The more you just stack wins, the more you just sit there and nobody gains ground on you, at least on any given day, and you reduce the number of games. Obviously, that's gonna help you out. So they won. 16 games left. They're still 3 up on Detroit, 4 up on Boston and Seattle in the wild card race. Gained a game on Kansas City. They're only a game and a half behind Kansas City for the second wild card, and that matters. You want to put both of those in play just in case someone's coming up on your heels. You want to have another one to shoot for in case Kansas City starts to falter. So feeling a little bit better about that. They needed, Royce and I talked Monday, they needed to take 2 out of 3 from the Angels. Did not start out well. They lost the opener of that series 6-2. But then, delivered the 10-run game on Tuesday, and then a solid 6-4 win yesterday. Better news within the game. Couple guys who had been in big-time slumps, Royce Lewis and Brooks Lee. Both of them had 2-run doubles. Brooks Lee had the biggest one. Royce Lewis gave them a nice cushion at the end. They were up 4-3. He gets a big hit, puts them up 6-3. They end up winning 6-4, so those are big runs for them towards the end of the game. So get those guys back on track. That will make the lineup look better. Sounds like Carlos Correa could be close to returning. And post-game, they announced Byron Buxton will be activated Friday. Today's an off day. It's a rare off day. We'll get to that in a minute in the context of a concern I still have. But they get Byron Buxton back tomorrow. Carlos Correa shouldn't be that far behind. And getting some class and quality, added to the lineup can only help, of course, down the stretch. We'll see, how healthy they are. We'll see how productive they are after having missed a lot of time. Buxton's been out for about a month. Correa has been out for 2 months. Get those guys back. See if they can contribute down the stretch. Get this to the finish line. And there's a school of thought that's like, what does it even matter if the Twins get in the playoffs? They're not going anywhere. This isn't a team that's going to make a playoff run. It still matters. Of course it matters. I know they don't seem like a team that could really do much damage in the playoffs right now. And I'll get to the main reason for that again in a minute, which was my main reason for concern again from Wednesday's game. It matters though. You want to keep moving forward, even if it's as a wild card. Making the playoffs matters. It means you were, upper echelon team in the American League. It means your forward progress hasn't stalled. Means you didn't have some sort of epic collapse at the end of the season. So we will see if they can get there, but Byron Buxton coming back, Correa maybe getting closer to coming back, and maybe Royce Lewis and Brooks Lee starting to turn a corner with their offense. Those would all be huge things for their lineup and, frankly, for their defense as well. Now, the concern, Zebby Matthews couldn't get out of the 4th inning. They lifted him pretty early in this game. Now, I get it. They have an off day today, so it was kind of all hands on deck for the bullpen. They knew they could go early to the bullpen, Probably a good move in this case because the bullpen got it to the finish line, pitched 5+ innings, only gave up 2 runs. That was good enough to get it done. You're not going to be able to do that every game, though. And they've got 16 games left this season. Bailey Ober, if everything stays on track, would start 4 of them. He would be the one pitcher slated to pitch 4 times, which is good news for the Twins. Pablo Lopez has 3 starts left, and the rookies in the rotation all have 3 starts left, assuming they keep the current alignment. That means David Festa, Simeon Woods Richardson, and Zebby Matthews are going to account for 9 starts out of the final 16 games. They only have 1 more scheduled off day after today. So after today, they're going to play 16 games in 17 days. Their next scheduled off day is after a road trip to Cleveland and Boston that could very well define their season. So basically, after today, they've got 10 straight games. More than half of them scheduled to be started by rookie starting pitchers. Can they win enough games? Can they keep the bullpen fresh enough if these guys are only pitching 4 or 5 innings and it's not always quality innings? Can they piece it together in a 10-game stretch with no off days and then just that one off day and then a bunch of 6 more to finish the season? That's my concern. That's why I tweeted on Wednesday night, and I'm not sure this is entirely serious, but like I said, bring back Randy Dobnak. Like I'm kind of ready for something else in the rotation. I'm ready to see somebody else. I know the options are limited. I know Louis Varland maybe isn't the savior everybody wants him to be. I know whatever they've got at St. Paul has probably been brought up already. I just don't know how you get 9 more starts out of Festa, Matthews, and Simeon Woods Richardson and feel good about your chances. I don't know what the best other option is. That's the problem. I wish I had a better answer to say this is what you should do. I'm more just saying this is what you shouldn't do. That is my concern right now. Just looking at how Zebby Matthews has gone the last 3 or 4 starts, looking at the way Simeon Woods Richardson's season has gone. Festa has maybe leveled off a little bit, although I trust him more than maybe the other 2 right now. And then you kind of have to have Bailey Ober and Pablo Lopez be perfect. And they've been great. Outside of the Bailey Ober blow-up start a few starts ago against Atlanta, he's been tremendous for the past 2.5, 3 months. Pablo Lopez has been lights out since the All-Star break. He's got 15 wins now, got the ERA under 4. He's feeling good about himself right now. But you're putting tons of pressure on those guys, and they only have 7 starts out of those guys left. You got 9 more starts out of everybody else. And I know you can go to the bullpen sometimes, but you can't keep asking your bullpen to get 15, 18, 12 outs in games. That's a lot to ask. They're going to wear down. They're going to burn out. I don't know how you expect to get it to the finish line unless you can come up with one more solution here right now. So that's what I'm watching down the stretch. I like that they righted the ship. I think they've got a good chance to win the series against the Reds, take some positive momentum into that road trip against Cleveland and Boston, which, like I said, probably will define their season if they're going to get it to the finish line or not, because they've got home games after that down the stretch, including 3 against Miami, which should be good ones. Baltimore to end the season. What their hope there is that Baltimore has already kind of had their playoff fate sealed. You don't want Baltimore having something to play for in those final 3 games because Baltimore is a very good team, better than the Twins right now. You hope that has been settled, that the AL East has been settled, that Baltimore is either run away with it in some capacity, or right now they're a game and a half behind the Yankees. You hope they're maybe 3 or 4 back, but still 3 or 4 clear of the next wild card, and that they don't have anything to play for. Getting ahead of ourselves a little bit there, but that's what I'm watching for. How is this going to play out, especially that 7-game road trip, which will be the last of 10 in a row without an off day? How is the pitching going to hold up? It's the newest segment on Daily Delivery. It's the Daily Delivery Debate with Velle E. Neal III. Here are some of the ground rules, explaining it for the first time. Velle and I will do this every Thursday on every Thursday podcast. These will also be available as videos throughout the week on the Star Tribune's YouTube page. We pick 3 topics every week and have a little debate. We don't necessarily have to disagree, Velle. I'm not going to manufacture a disagreement with you, but if we do disagree, that's okay. Sure. If you're watching on YouTube or even just listening at home, leave a comment. Tell us who won. Tell us who won the day. And maybe we'll come up with some some prizes, some crowns. Maybe I'll let Lavelle have the taco trophy for a week if he's the winner for the week, things like that. So vote if you want to, comment if you want to on who you thought did the best job today and throughout the week, or if you're listening to the entire episode on Daily Delivery, give us your final judgment on that. Lavelle, do those feel like fair ground rules to you?
Yeah, I didn't know there was going to be a traveling trophy involved, so I got even more incentive.
I think there should be. I think there should be each week. We should get like a crown. I mean, I could bring the taco trophy to you. I can keep it when I'm the victor, things like that, and you can show it off. You can display it in your little square if that's how we decide to do it. But first topic right now. Let's get right into it. Bigger blunder by the Twins. Was it not going after more starting pitching before the season started, or was it not going after more starting pitching at the trade deadline? You have the floor.
I think both those situations are equally egregious, but I will say that it's probably a little more worse that they didn't address this at midseason before the deadline when they already had suffered some pitching injuries. David Festa was already up, and Zebby was a few weeks away from being called up. We knew during the offseason they were worried about the TV deal going up that upside down and them losing revenue because of it. But there's recovery. There's been recovery since then, and they could have addressed it at the deadline. They're bringing an arm or two. We're going into the season, and I wrote about this in today's paper that, looking at the order of pitching that they had coming out of spring training, there was already concern because after Louis Varland, you had an unproven David Festa, and you didn't even know Zebby Matthews was in the organization. He has rocketed up the charts. So they went to the season light. That should have, and considering where they were at the trade deadline, trying to catch Cleveland, they should have pulled out more of the stops to try to make a move happen. So I think it's more disappointing that they did not address this at midseason.
I kind of agree, but I almost think it was worse that they didn't do anything at the start of the season. I know that there were payroll limitations, but for the reasons you just outlined, I feel like they knew that they were light going into the season. They knew they might not get anything out of Anthony DeSclafani, who is really the only addition they made, and he didn't even pitch a single inning for them this year. He shut down with the injury. They were probably counting too much on Chris Paddock to replace a lot of the innings of Sonny Gray. Like, you weren't going to spend $25 million on Sonny Gray, but to not give yourself more options for this potential eventuality, they must have felt awfully good about their young pitchers who, again, you wrote about today. They're really depending on those pitchers right now down the stretch. It'd be nice if Pablo Lopez could pitch more than once every 5 days, because that feels like that's their only plan right now. So Joe Ryan wasn't hurt yet at the trade deadline. That was the thing that really, is kind of the after the fact, second guessing stuff like that. But even then, you're right. They were kind of thin. They were already depending on Festa. You were getting more out of Simeon Woods Richardson than I think you would have ever imagined at the start of the year.
Absolutely.
I feel like they went into the start of the season with a bad pitching plan, and it's only gotten worse since then. And I think they've overperformed to this point to still be kind of in the driver's seat in the wild card right now.
Yeah, it's they're fortunate. The other teams are kind of dropped off. Boston is just cratered, and a couple other teams have struggled. Detroit's playing better ball though, but they had a chance to right a wrong. They had a chance to address a situation they created during the offseason, and that's why I think it was a little more egregious that they did not get heavily involved in landing a credible arm prior trade deadline. The experience these guys are getting now will serve them well. But you look at this, it's microcosm of the entire roster, because you look at so many inexperienced players, Edouard Julien, Matt Warner, they all just came into our lives like last year. Right. And we're asking all these guys to push forward and try to catch Cleveland, or at least secure the wild card spot, when a veteran arm really would have served them well in that rotation right now. Bullpen too. They're short-handed, the entire pitching staff, top to bottom.
Let's go to topic number 2. Lavelle, engaging you here on the Daily Delivery debate. Should the Lynx want to face Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever in the playoffs. Let's set the background a little bit. Lynx right now are the number 2 seed. They've been red hot. 11 wins out of 12 since the break, since they got back from the Olympics. They're a game up on Connecticut right now. Indiana, I think, is the 6th seed right now. So right now, they would miss Indiana because it's 3 versus 6, 2 versus 7, 1 versus 8, 4 versus 5. But they could potentially fall to the 3 seed if they lose to Connecticut here later on in a little bit. Connecticut have the tiebreaker, things like that. What's a better outcome? Should they want to face the challenge and potentially get the gate that comes with the Caitlin Clark playoff games?
I think that there's no team in the WNBA that the Lynx should fear. Looking at their schedule during the regular season, I think they've only been blown out twice. They've gone into New York and beaten the Liberty, who have been the top team in the league all year. They can beat any team in this league, and that includes Caitlin Clark and the Fever. I would like to see the Lynx play the Fever as late as possible in the postseason to have even more on the line. Right now, I think they'd open up against the Phoenix Mercury. I think they could meet the Fever in the semis. I don't think they can play them in the championship series, but I think they can meet each other in the semis, and that'd be great as well, because then that means the Fever would have won a series, further establishing Clark as a program-changing force, because that team was terrible before she got there. They would be a step away from the finals, and the Lynx, who have done a great job of rebuilding, Cheryl Reeves has done a fantastic job. They could be sniffing a return to the championship series, which we are used to seeing from them. So I think in order to have those storylines collide, when there's the most on the line, I think would be the greatest viewing and the greatest interest.
Yeah, I like that. I don't think you should necessarily actively seek out the Fever, but if it happens, that's great. If it happens in the first round, it probably means that the Lynx have slid back, right? It means that they've lost 1 or 2 games down the stretch, and Connecticut has won out, especially that big game coming up between the Lynx and Connecticut next week. I mean, the Lynx have to play Connecticut and New York on the road still to finish these last 4 games of the season. There's definitely a potential to have a little slippage there, to fall back to 3 and then have to play the Fever in that first round, when it would be, best 2 out of 3, first 2 at Target Center. Now, at this point in their trajectory, I don't think business should come into this. That's not a reason to want a team in the playoffs. You want to win in the playoffs, but man, can you imagine a best of 3 with 2 guaranteed home games against the Fever? What that would do for their bottom line this season, and what that would do for their what that would do for the juice at Target Center in round 1?
Oh, that would be fantastic. It'd be a great atmosphere, and people from Iowa would drive up again and take over the arena. We probably would have blanket coverage at the Star Tribune with the multiple columnists there, like myself. It would be a great spectacle and a great event. Can it happen? We'll see. The Lynx also I believe they play Chicago on Friday. I think they play the Sparks coming up too.
Last game of the season,
it's going to be meaty here going down the stretch, and if they can handle that East Coast 2-step there with Connecticut and New York and come out with the number 2 seed, that'd be great. But I'm rooting for a collision with Caitlin Clark, but I want it when there's a lot on the line.
Just in general, this has been a remarkable season for them. What a year to watch pro basketball in Minnesota. And the Timberwolves, with the season they had, the run they had, the Lynx. I mean, they were picked like 8th, 9th in the WNBA preseason polls. They were like fringe playoff team. They've been one of the 3 best teams all season long. One of the true teams in the league. I mean, Nafisa Collier's playing like a star, obviously, and she is a star. She should be first team all league. She should be in the MVP conversation, but I don't think anybody outside of the Lynx themselves maybe saw this coming.
Yeah, Nafisa Collier may be having the finest season of any Minnesota athlete this year, and that includes Anthony Edwards, who had a fantastic year. But yeah, she's in the MVP conversation in the WNBA for sure, and she's been part of the revitalization of this franchise. So, and props for Cheryl to getting other players to lift raise their level of play as well. They're a little short-handed rebounding, we all see that at times, but this is a talent team. It's fun to watch. I like shooters, so I'm a big Kayla McBride fan. I like to see shooters shoot, and she is one of the better ones in the league as well. So It's been a fun year. It's been a fun summer. If you think about how the end of the Wolves season turned out, despite losing to Luka Doncic and Dallas, yeah, that was a little bit of a bummer. But still, then you connected with the WNBA season started. It's been a lot of fun. It's great when your teams are playing well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun. I mean, we want one extreme or the other, right? Here in the media, we either want them to be great or we want them to be terrible. The mediocre teams are the ones that aren't that fun to cover because there's no palace intrigue. It's just, they might win, they might lose. That's always been my problem with the Wild lately, is they never seem to be one extreme or the other. They seem to be kind of stuck in that middle way too often. Mm-hmm. But we'll see how they do this year too. We'll probably talk about them on a future episode of this segment. Velle E, Neal III, daily delivery debate. Topic number 3 for the week. I want you to rank the NFC North teams right now after 1 week. Has your opinion changed after watching your Bears struggle to beat the Titans? Caleb Williams, not the debut he wanted. They did win, though. Detroit looked pretty good at beating the Rams, but they needed overtime. The Vikings probably looked better than I thought they would, and maybe other people thought they would, but they were playing a bad team. Green Bay loses to the Eagles, and they're probably losing Jordan Love for a few weeks here. How do you reassess, if you have to reassess at all, this division after 1 week?
Yeah, I'm going to treat this like power rankings, so we can take recent past performances into consideration here. So, no doubt, Detroit looks like the best team in the division. They have the most experienced starting quarterback in the division in Jared Goff. They addressed their need for a corner during the last draft. They got a really good offensive line. They got weapons. If Jamison Williams is going to play like he did in week 1 and join Amon-Ra St. Brown, David Montgomery, and Jahmyr Gibbs as weapons in that offense, then look out. The Lions could go on a major road here. So I'll have them ranked first.
Fair.
Second, I'm still going to stick with the Packers. I know I haven't seen a lot of Malik Willis, but they do have a running game. I didn't know who the hell their backup to Josh Jacobs was, but that guy's pretty talented. So they still have weapons on offense. And the defense, the defense got on Philadelphia early in that game. I saw some things I liked. So it's not just Jair Alexander back there defending against the pass. So I'm still going to have him second. This is unfortunate that Jordan Love is on the shelf, but I believe in LaFleur's ability to craft a game plan that could be effective. I wish he could craft the game plan for my fantasy team because I did draft Jordan Love in one of my leagues. So I've got to re-examine that. Vikings third.
Okay.
I think highly of Brian Flores as a defensive coordinator. And I think he got a lot out of very little last year, finding Ivan Pace and finding a spot for Metellus and things like that. He's got better players. He's got some better players this year. I'm curious to see what happens with Dallas Turner's development, but Van Ginkel's a quality player. And I think the defense may actually take another step forward, and that bodes well for them. Offensively, I like Aaron Jones. Darnold's got to prove it. I'm not going to get fired up about Sam Darnold having a revitalizing his career after 1 week.
He played really well 1 week.
He did. He's done it before, but I had to see him string these games together to believe it. The Vikings, despite the Packers being busted up here a little bit with Love, they still have a heck of an early season schedule. San Francisco's on that schedule. Houston's on that schedule. They're going to have to pack a lunch here. So I've got them ranked third. The Bears showed they're going to be a work in progress. The only reason they won on Sunday was because Will Levis was the quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. And he just gave away the game basically with just some boneheaded decisions and trying to make plays that weren't there. I didn't get a chance to see much of the Bears offense. One of our problems is our interior of our offensive line got penetrated over and over again against the Titans. It forced Caleb Williams to kind of adjust some things. And the one mistake he made was immediately going backwards. Going backwards in the NFL is never a good thing. Okay. So I saw good and bad. I mean, he missed a couple throws. He held onto the ball a couple times too long. He missed open receivers. He had a couple drops. Keenan Allen dropped the ball in the end zone he should have caught. Plus, he had to deal with some unexpected pressure in his face. So he's got to work his way through all that. I still like the way the defense responded. But right now, I would have to put the Bears 4th behind the Vikings in the current NFC North power rankings.
I'm going to pander to the crowd a little bit, hoping to win this one. Lions number 1. I don't think we can dispute that. Lions number 1. They're defending division champs. I thought they showed out pretty well against the Rams, who are another quality team, a playoff team. Probably again this season. You're right, Jared Goff suddenly, especially with Love's injury, he's not that experienced anyway. Jared Goff clearly going to be the best quarterback in the division, at least for a few weeks. As much as we liked what Sam Darnold did this past week, Love's out. It's like Goff, a rookie, and Caleb Williams is making a second career start this week. Sam Darnold, who, we got to see it more. He's got to prove it more. And then, of course, Malik Willis, who again is, the backup they got 2 weeks ago. He's going to be thrust into the spotlight. So Lions number 1. If we're doing this power ranking style, Vikings number 2. Because their defense, again, I know they're playing the Giants. But you gave Brian Flores like 4 or 5 really good players this offseason. You give him that kind of talent. I think this is a defense that can be top 10 all year. I know they're going to get challenged soon. San Francisco is going to be a challenge, although it probably sounds like McCaffrey might not play again. You're going to have a lot of stuff going on in that game. You're going to have way more challenges than you got against Daniel Jones and that disjointed-looking Giants offense. But this defense looks really good, at least right now, at least while they're healthy. And Sam Darnold showed me some stuff. Again, we got to see it for more than 1 week, but he showed me that he can run a functional offense. I'm putting them 2 right now. I'm putting the Bears number 3 right now because I think that the fact that they can win without having Caleb Williams play anywhere near his potential is, while disappointing for his debut, is a good sign overall for them this season. So I'm going to put them at number 3. Was not a performance you want to put hang in a museum by any stretch of the imagination. It was a boring game. It was a bad game. They were in danger of losing to a bad team, but they still found a way to win. That's a game that they lose in previous years. I got to put the Packers 4th right now. I wasn't that impressed with them against Philadelphia. I don't think Philadelphia is going to be all that great this season. You look at that and you say, Jordan Love's going to be injured right now. Green Bay, as constructed right now with Malik Willis as their quarterback, is the 4th best team in the division. I don't think they have a dominant side of the ball right now without Jordan Love. And I think they're going to be in a little bit of a hole. I think when Jordan Love comes back and maybe they hit their midseason stride, this is probably going to be eventually the 2nd best team in the division. But right now, I'm putting them 4th.
I can't drop them that far because I still think they can be functional without Love. There were some questions about Love coming into the season, that if last year was a fluke or was this a sign of the real thing. And I can't move the Vikings up to 2nd because I'm looking at this. They've got San Francisco this week. And let's face it, the Giants quarterback and the Titans quarterback may have been the same person. All right. They're 2 of the worst.
Good. They're not good. 2 of the worst 5. 2 of the 5 worst quarterbacks in the
exactly.
league.
So I can't be throwing flowers at people for beating Jones in New York. But, you got 49ers, then you have the Texans, a wounded Packers team. Then you got Aaron Rodgers, then you got Jared Goff, and then you got Matt Stafford. Yeah. That is a gauntlet, man.
It's a gauntlet. Yeah, these first 7 games are a gauntlet. And you ain't got J.J. McCarthy to come save the day if Sam falters either. It could get ugly. I'm just saying, after 1 week, this is where I'm putting them right now.
Okay, well, that's it's provocative, definitely.
Made my bed. I made my bed. I'm waiting for the hot takes, cold takes exposed, frozen takes exposed, stuff like that. Well, Lavelle, appreciate it. We will do this every week. Daily delivery debate, 3 subjects. You guys go vote. Tell us. You email me, find me on social media, vote on YouTube. Tell us who won the debate, who did a better job. Probably the most high-profile debate that we've had all week, isn't it?
I think so. At least we didn't get a chance to shake hands or complain about the others' past records and debates.
All right, Lavelle. We'll appreciate it. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right, take care.
Hope you enjoyed that new segment with Lavelle. Like I said, we'll try to do that every week. Put those on video, Star Tribune's YouTube page, so go check that out. Got a little spicy at the end with the NFC North. We disagreed. There's going to be topics, though. There's going to be ripe topics in the middle of the week where we're gonna disagree. It's going to be fun. So check that out every Thursday on the podcast and towards the end of the week on the Star Tribune's YouTube page. Let us finish with the cooler. A couple things in there today. First, the chorus of concerns about Kirk Cousins and his debut performance, and particularly the way he looked health-wise, is growing. Atlanta Journal-Constitution column today, what if Kirk Cousins isn't healthy? Pro Football Talk taking a look at it, quoting a few different people saying, hey, the Achilles doesn't look fully healed right now. That is a concern for the Falcons. I wrote about that on Wednesday. Just imagine if the Vikings had signed Kirk Cousins and they were in this spot right now where he had a lousy debut. He didn't look mobile. He didn't look like the same quarterback that you were accustomed to, which still wasn't, a top 5 quarterback, but at his peak is probably the 10th best quarterback in the NFL. Certainly good enough to get you to the playoffs. What if you were getting this version that you saw of Kirk Cousins? Still looking kind of injured, still maybe looking his age. What if the Vikings had re-signed him to any sort of contract that looked like what the Falcons gave him? The chorus of boos would be raining down on the Vikings right now, especially if they hadn't drafted a quarterback in the first round. So thinking about that, thinking about what this would be like if Kirk Cousins was still here. I know he's got time to turn the season around. It's just one game, but there are legitimate concerns that he just does not look right now. Speaking of not looking right now, Pac-12 apparently trying to revive itself with spare parts, essentially Mountain West schools. This is supposed to happen today officially. Boise State, Colorado State, San Diego State, and Fresno State expecting to join the Pac-12 for the start of the 2026-27 season. Is it really the Pac-12 if it's, Oregon State, Washington State, and those 4 teams? I don't know. The best comparison I saw on social media was that it's like, a touring band, a band from a long time ago that's touring in name only and doesn't really have any of the players, doesn't really have any of the band members that they had back in the day. Is this really the Pac-12, the ghost of the Pac-12? I don't know. Conference realignment has left them in a weird place. I don't know if it's worth saving or not. You only have 2 members right now. Is it really worth adding these 4 schools and trying to pretend that this is still what it used to be? That will do it for me today. Should be some fun stuff coming up on Friday's show. We're going to do some fantasy football content. We're going to do some high school sports content, so stick around for that on Friday. Until then, I am Michael Rand. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Back at it again tomorrow.